Do you remember how you guys were told of his loss?
Well, we received a telegram, and I think some Army folks came to visit my mother, father. They were devastated, of course, and she was the Gold Star mother, and we used to have the Gold Star in our window. I haven't cried for a long time.
Well, he was your brother.
Yeah,
So
when we were married, he wanted to, of course, be at the wedding, but he couldn't. And I just discovered a little card today that he had sent to me, and he had sent us some money, and he always called me sister, and I called him brother. And he said, "Dear sis, this is the best I could do. I wish I could be with you. Love, brother." He always wrote letters home and to me after we were married, and he always enjoyed being in the service. He had many friends, and it was a good life for him because he loved it. He died doing what he wanted to do. He always wanted to fly. Well, I guess it was the war was on, and he saw the planes and so forth, and that was one of the things he was interested in. He did well in his basic training and all the training that he had. And the P-38 that he flew was a fast plane. He loved that plane. My little nephew became interested in the story about my brother and the flying in the P-38, and he wanted to know if we had any pictures of the P-38, or we had my brother's wings that he had earned, and we gave them to this young fellow because he was so interested in the story, and he still has them today in his keepsakes in his room. I had another brother. He was only 9 when my brother Walter left, and I remember him carrying an American flag the day he left for the Army.
Your mother and father, this must have been quite a loss to them. And what happened when they heard?
Oh, it was just terrible. You know, you can't remember what happened because we were all so sad. First of all, you don't believe it, and then you do believe it. And my father was not a well man at the time. He had lost his vision, and we had a hard time of it. My mother was a strong woman, but she certainly caved in after that happened. But after a certain period of time, time goes on, and you have to do what you have to do. But it was a blow, a terrible blow. And when you have somebody in the Army, as we do now, we know what it's like, you know. We have a young man who's just home from Iraq, my granddaughter's husband, and always takes you back to those memories. Well, when he was young, he was heavy, and they used to call him lard because it was fat in the can. That was a funny thing. We always kids thought that one up, when he was a kid. But then he trimmed down, and he was in good shape. But when we were growing up, he was always fun to be around, always laughing and telling things that were interesting and sort of jokes. I miss him even now. I often wonder what he looked like or what he would have been had he lived.
Well, certainly he would have done something with his life.
Oh yes, he would have. Yes. Yeah, he was smart, but he wasn't the type that blew his own horn. He always, said, "Oh, well, anybody could do what I do." But he was a sweet young guy, and the girls were crazy about him. He was crazy about the girls, too. Then he was serious with the girl, too, before he died. She was from Ohio, and her name was Joan. I forget her last name now. When he was little, I just put him on the stair steps and cut his hair for him, and I was only little, too, and my mother was really upset about it. And he thought it was funny, and he said, I'm going to do something to you someday. And what he did was something that wasn't very nice, and he did it in my shoe. That's the truth.
But he was a real youngster then.
Yeah,
right?
he was young then.
What did he write back about?
Well, he thought he was in the right place at the right time doing what he wanted to do, and he thought that, you know, America was doing the right thing, and he liked to fly that plane, and when he would fly it, he would be happy. And I guess, you know, he was young, and he wrote about his girlfriends and that he had heard from them, and he was serious about the one, and he thought maybe he'd marry her when he got home, things like that.
Now, he was living in China for much of that time.
Yes.
Did he ever mention anything about China?
Just that it was an interesting place to be, and, you know, the things that he saw and was exposed to were unusual to him. He didn't say anything good or bad about China. He just enjoyed the fact that he was seeing the world. Because he was only 21 years of age, and, you know, a hometown boy, seeing all that, the Taj Mahal and all the things that China has, the Great Wall and so forth. This is a picture of my brother's grave. He's buried at the Punch Bowl in Hawaii, which we were able to go and see. And many of our family have gone to Hawaii to see his grave. And in the Punch Bowl, you can only put fresh flowers in the grave, and they never let them die because they keep it very, very well in memory of all the soldiers. So his grave is right next to Ernie Pyle, who was a great commentator and reporter of the war, well known during those days. Because my father had lost his vision, and he felt that, you know, my mother was maybe not getting enough money to live on, which she was really, but he didn't. He said, "Mom, I'm going to send you money every month I'm going to send you money," which he did. And he said, "I want you to save it and use it for something for yourself," because he's loved his mother. It was the worst time we've ever been through. A natural death you sometimes can understand, but a young death like that, it's just that he was getting out of the plane thinking he'd be okay, and he wasn't. I can only remember he had a very smiling face, and he was very well liked by everyone that knew him, and he was someone that you would remember. We did receive many letters after he passed away from fellows that were in the service with him, and they said he was one of the bright lights, you know, that always helped them see the good side of things. And that's the way he was. His disposition was excellent.